What's up, Sideline Society? Here we are today. It's the first episode of the podcast. I'm your host, Logan. This is
Kill.
And here we are. We are going to talk all about different things. We're going to talk about football. We're going to get into a couple exciting subjects. And we are going to find out some interesting comments from you guys and see where the show leads us. Like, comment, subscribe. Please follow and tell your friends, tell your mom, tell your family. If you don't like them, fucking talk to them. And let's go.
I want to shout out my boys, the Cleveland Browns, for beating Pittsburgh this Thursday. What a game it was. Snow game. Nick Chubb had the winning touchdown after getting taken out for the season by Pittsburgh. So that was pretty cool. Definitely.
Myles Garrett had, what, 3 first-half sacks?
Yeah, 3 first-half sacks and a strip sack for a fumble recovery. So that was super cool.
And what was up with the game? Like, didn't it start snowing like halfway through? I kind of didn't watch it, so I don't...
It did. At halftime, they came out at halftime, basically a whiteout. Blizzards going. Phenomenal football. Jameis Winston, that guy.
Famous Jameis.
Super funny. His beginning of the game speech, if you haven't seen it, I suggest checking out. Super funny. So, to see them lose, prime time, wonderful.
You know what I think's funny about your burning hatred for Pittsburgh is, never had a problem with Pittsburgh.
No.
I kind of, as much as I just said I never gave Jameis a fair shake, maybe I sometimes gave Big Ben too much.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well,
I mean, he did win some Super Bowls.
He did. It was terrible, but he did.
Let's go ahead and talk about our Super Bowl favorites, who we got possibly winning MVP, stuff like that. Let's just see where we think things are going to go, and if you guys agree or disagree, drop some knowledge in the comments. So I'll sit here and say, honestly, I mean, we just referenced him in the clip. Even with Aiden Hutchinson being, Mr. broke leg, old Timmy two-time out here. I think Detroit, realistically, I don't see how
any team can beat them.
They're very well coached.
They are.
They're built from the inside out, like we said, and I just, everybody else, you got to rely on something really going great. Like, even the Chiefs, at some point or another, you got to rely on Mahomes to make some Mahomes magic happen. At some point or another with Baltimore, you need King Henry and Lamar Jackson to just ball out.
Well, even last week, what you saw at Baltimore, they lost to Pitt. They couldn't score touchdowns whatsoever.
That's what. If Lamar and King Henry aren't rolling, like, that's it. So
yeah. Pitt's shut down Flowers. Flowers didn't have a very good game.
Yeah.
Pitt really beat them with field goals. And if you're a top team in the NFL,
MVP caliber Lamar
team with Lamar like that, and you're getting beat by a team that can't score a touchdown, that's hard.
Because you can't score a touchdown.
Yeah, let's not get that mixed up. That's hard.
You got Lamar, all this hype.
All that hype. And you got beat by field goals. With King Henry, with all the offensive weapons they have, they couldn't score a touchdown to beat them. So.
Again, though, I think Detroit is my early Super Bowl favorite, especially at this point. I mean, we're midway through the season. I think things are becoming pretty clear as far as, like, what teams are and what teams aren't. I mean, yeah, will some teams get healthier? Will some teams get hot going into the postseason? Of course. It's always hard to predict what's going to happen.
Postseason football is very unpredictable.
But
definitely. Plus, they have Sonic and Knuckles.
Dude.
Dynamic backs.
Moving past that, who do you got for MVP?
MVP. So, obviously, it's going to have to be down to, I would say, one of two people. I would say either Lamar's always going to be in the conversation. For sure.
His like dynamic abilities will always put him there.
He'll always be.
But like we just said, that game he just had where he could put points up.
Yeah, exactly.
That's you can't do that as an MVP.
Patty Mahomes is having a terrible season. Let's be honest.
They are winning in spite of him at this point.
Without him. I mean, Patty Mahomes is always Patty Mahomes, but I don't really think he should be on the conversation. Honestly, Jared Goff. Jared Goff's been balling out.
Dark horse.
Yeah.
Are we giving Detroit all the love this year? Are they getting all the flowers?
I mean, dang, maybe we're both secretly Detroit Lion fans.
As a Dolphin fan, you almost have to have a second team nowadays, and they're NFC Detroit, so that's not
it's
like
not like we're voting against each other.
As a Miami, they're hey, I feel like I can throw some love Detroit's way. They deserve it. They need it.
Oh, they do.
So, all right, you got
maybe Goff.
Goff's that's actually like a super interesting pick.
Well, I mean, he's put up. Look at the numbers. The Lions are literally scoring like 40 points a game close to half the time.
It's insane.
So he's putting up the numbers.
Insane.
He had that perfect QBR record, or like passing rate.
Yeah.
A couple weeks ago, so that was impressive.
I almost wonder if it's something. Can nobody get the MVP? Can that be allowed? I know that might be like an edgy pick or something.
An edgy look at it.
I don't feel like anybody is like definitively deserved it this season. There's nobody just balling out unstoppable. An MVP, I know like when we say nobody's balling out, there's going to be a ton of people wanting to be like, we'll give it to a defensive player. I mean, there's Myles Garrett, there's all the, and it's like, unfortunately, I just don't know if defensive players in the modern NFL will get love at MVP as much as they should. I just don't think they will.
Problem with the concept of MVP, most valuable player, your team has to basically not be able to win without you. So,
and that, I feel like MVP has almost become a quarterback award. And I know there's been a ton of conversation about that.
It has.
I mean, obviously, there's been 1,000,001 videos on 1,000,001 websites with 1,000,001 articles about it. So, Jared Goff's a really good pick, man. Actually, that's like a shockingly good pick.
It is shockingly good. And he doesn't get much talk about it.
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't, but I think
he don't get no love.
No, he doesn't.
Especially the way he washed out in LA. Like, people kind of really...
Sidebar there. Isn't it wild how well that trade actually worked out for both of those guys? For
Dude, that might be one of the only trades I've ever seen work. Was a win-win.
Win for both sides. Both sides balled out. Like I said, LA... Matthew Stafford went from being on a terrible Lions team. They went winless the one year, I think in like 2012 or whatever it was.
Absolutely.
But then he went to the Rams, and he has a Super Bowl now. So he's got a win out of the trade, basically.
And everybody knew Stafford had all the talent in the world. Everybody knew Stafford was a great quarterback. Detroit just...
They were bad.
It really goes to show what a coach can do.
It is.
What a culture change, somebody that's strong-willed, that's not going to just bend to upper management, that's going to do what's right for the team.
It does.
And it like,
100%.
You're going to do it, if you're hiring me and you're bringing me in, we're going to do it the right way.
100%.
And he really has. Dan Campbell is one of those guys. I mean, as a Dolphin fan, a lot of people probably forget Miami had him as an interim head coach back 8 years ago, 9 years ago.
You guys did,
yeah, for a half a season. And we were hot garbage. And I want to say, I forget who we fired. I forget who we fired. Nobody, obviously. He sucked. That's why I don't remember him. And Dan Campbell came in, probably midway through the season, maybe a little later. And, I mean, Miami got hot with him. I wanted to keep him.
Yeah.
And I think we ended up going in, like, the Adam Gase direction. And, yeah.
See that one.
Enough said. Enough said.
Campbell's definitely, probably, honestly, once again, not to throw too much love towards the Detroit Lions. He might be coach of the year. What other?
Detroit really might just get the triple crown.
Detroit is just
Super Bowl, MVP, Coach of the Year. I mean, they deserve it.
They really do. They're an amazing team.
It's one of those things. It kind of goes back to the conversation of franchises just historically being bad, and Detroit has obviously been one of those franchises for. They wasted Barry Sanders' career. They wasted Megatron. I mean, we don't have to bang on them. Everybody already knows
how bad they were.
So it's just one of those things. I mean, Cleveland even.
Oh, for sure.
It's Miami even since Marino. I mean, 25 years now, Miami has just been mediocre to a complete laughingstock.
Pretty much, yeah.
It's just when you get just dysfunction that's so deeply rooted within a franchise and an organization with ownership or management or wherever you have it, it just seems like one of those things. It's very hard to get past.
It is. It is very hard.
And to see Detroit get past it
and kill it now,
it's all the more impressive. I mean, if any team was doing it, if any team, let's say the Patriots now, they maybe...
Yeah, they got diversity now.
Yeah, they maybe historically, before Brady and Belichick weren't the greatest team. They maybe historically weren't the greatest team before Brady and Belichick, but they had been to a Super Bowl in '85 against the Bears.
They did.
They got dog walked by the Bears in '85, but they had some franchise success.
They did.
There was a lot of dark years, but all franchises have them. But now, to the point of the conversation coming full circle, they had their great run with Brady and Belichick, their post-Brady and Belichick. If they could get their team together in a way Detroit has, it would be impressive.
Oh,
but I don't think it would be as impressive as you look at the Detroit Lions' dysfunction over the last 50 years.
No.
And the fact that they have just gotten it together so fast.
They did.
It ain't been like a gradual, they kind of were good for a few years and then like Detroit in the last 5 years has just put it on.
No, it's literally like I said, they did that trade, they got Jared Goff, they brought in Campbell. Boom, it started clicking for him.
Campbell started making some good draft decisions.
They did, yep.
He started getting some good free agents.
Mm-hmm.
What's his name? Williams, the running back?
No.
I'm gonna look him up real quick. I don't wanna. We'll do it.
Nah, Williams got traded for him.
Who am I trying to
They got Montgomery and they got Gibbs. Jamal Williams.
Yeah, that's who I was thinking.
He's on the Saints now.
Is he really?
Yeah.
Damn, I'm so out of it. So, I've just been told that I don't even know the Detroit Lions roster as well as I thought I did. You know why? Because I don't play Madden 25, because that game's hot garbage.
Yeah, it's terrible.
College football is where it's at.
College football is where it's at.
To the point, though, Detroit's real deal.
Detroit is the real deal.
So the dark horse MVP, Jared Goff.
Goff, I think.
I like that. I definitely.
Campbell.
You gotta give it to him.
Defense Player of the Year, I gotta say Myles Garrett. Now, is that a biased choice? Maybe. But we gotta give it to him.
Myles Garrett, I mean, I don't know what his numbers are off the top of my head. What are his numbers? Do you know?
I think he has like 10 sacks. I couldn't tell you the pressures. And I think he has 2 forced fumbles, I want to say. Look up the stats.
Yeah, we're looking.
Let's
we're
see
looking.
Check, so
we're looking at stats here,
boys.
Like, don't worry. We don't have Jamie to pull it up.
No.
But we can do it ourselves.
Yeah, we got technology.
Oh, you were right on. 10 sacks.
See, I know my guy. 10 sacks. I think 2 forced fumbles, I want to say. 3. Oh,
okay. He has 10 sacks, 3 forced fumbles. Yeah, he's
decent.
Shit. Oh, boys.
Now,
he might be on track for his best year, realistically.
Now, I'm going to be honest here. So, I'm almost 100% positive 7 of those sacks came in 2 games. Unfortunately, he got 4 against the Chargers, I'm pretty sure, and 3 against Pitt. So
what are you doing for me outside of those 2? I mean, his impact, though, you have to account for him.
You do, definitely.
You gotta block him. You gotta block him.
I saw this stat, I forget where, probably on like TikTok, something like that, I'm not sure. But the comparison between Myles Garrett and TJ Watt, whole career-wise, how TJ Watt does have, I think something like 15 more sacks, 20 more sacks, something like that. But if you look at the other stats, Myles Garrett is double-teamed over double what TJ Watt is.
Is he really?
He is. Yes, it's 14% of the time, 14.25 or something like that % of the time, Myles Garrett is double teamed, and it's only like 7.8% of the time TJ Watt is double teamed.
I'm kind of shocked that it's that low, to be honest.
Yeah, it actually is. Pretty.
When you think of someone like Aaron Donald, I don't know if he ever didn't get double teamed.
Yeah. Well, I think you're gonna also think double team. I don't think that term. Now, I could be wrong here, but double team I don't think counts as like chipping them. They don't put that in.
Oh, they don't throw that first little quick.
Yeah, like the running back chipping them.
Yeah, and then going out for a pass.
That's like when you actually physically have 2 offensive line guys on you.
Okay. And you know what? That would make more sense, especially to the point I made with Aaron Donald, because he's an interior lineman.
Yes.
So he would automatically have the center and guard right at him at all times.
So if you were going to double team an edge, obviously, you'd have to pull someone basically from the middle to double team.
And that gets more complicated.
Yeah, it's more complicated.
It leaves the interior open.
Yep.
If you're not running like a power O play or something where you're going quick to the outside with a running back, it's not working.
No, it's not. Exactly. Another thing is, I lost my train of thought. One second, let me catch back. TJ Watt, he historically has had way bigger names next to him on the defensive line.
I believe that.
So
Pittsburgh's always stacked.
Always stacked on the line. Whereas Cleveland, I mean, we have some decent names. Like, we had Smith before we traded him. We had, like, Tomlin, stuff like that. But Pitt has, like, always had, like, other almost, like, household defensive line named people. Which, if you have more than one good defensive line, obviously they can't put all the attention on just one guy to stop him. Whereas Cleveland, all he really got is Miles Garrett. So
Yeah.
you make a game plan when you play Cleveland around Miles Garrett.
Absolutely.
So
that plays into your point where you're like, maybe he got the majority of his sacks in 2 games, but those other games you still have to account for him. You still have to block him.
100%.
Just because the team that played him was more successful at it doesn't mean that they didn't have to, throw all hell at him.
No, 100%. Without a doubt.
So, and as well, I will sit there and say, another thing to your point, Pittsburgh, like we've said, is always, been genuinely relatively stacked on defense and always had a good defense at least.
Generally speaking.
And, I mean, obviously they've had off years, but, when you think of Cleveland, you don't think of defense, not necessarily. Maybe in the last few years you do now, but not historically, I don't know.
No, not historically. Last year we had the best defense in the league.
That's what I'm saying. The last few years, definitely Cleveland, you think of defense now, but you go outside of probably 5 years ago.
No, definitely not. To be honest with you, when you think of Cleveland in the last, outside of 5 years, you just think terrible.
It's,
Absolutely. You think depression. Sadness.
You know what I'll close out with the Cleveland conversation with? Y'all should have kept Baker. Should have kept Baker.
But you want to know what? I'm happy for Baker.
I am too.
I
love seeing Baker out there.
I love seeing Baker do good. I do. I love Baker.
Baker's solid.
Awesome quarterback.
Cleveland should have kept him, I feel like. You can't get rid of the
quarterback thing. We definitely shouldn't have got rid of him anyways for Deshaun Watson. That's a whole other topic.
You know what? I'm not going to lie, though. I was drinking the Kool-Aid on Deshaun Watson.
100%. I was right there with
I'm a Miami Dolphin fan, and if you remember back to them days when nobody knew where he was going, there was a lot of talk about him going to Miami, and I was all over it. I wanted him bad.
I was all for it. The only thing I didn't like I said, is the way they did Baker, and which I guess it just came up like the time when Deshaun Watson was available, or whatever. But it was a strange move right after Baker won us the first playoff game.
That's what I'm saying. It's one of those things. It's like, I'm happy to see you guys having success now post Baker as well. But I almost feel like maybe you guys don't deserve it just for how you did Baker.
Well,
maybe not forever, but for a couple of seasons, maybe you guys should just get gut punched once or twice.
I mean, what billion eight right now?
I guess you're getting it.
We're getting pretty gut punched right now.
Yeah, you guys shouldn't have thrown Baker to the side like that.
Don't let one awesome Thursday night game fool you.
That's true.
I mean, we're still not doing good.
No. And speaking of quarterbacks, I will throw this out there. Miami needs to get Arch Manning.
Arch Manning, huh?
The Arch Manning movement in Miami. Miami Dolphin fans, you've been looking in the groups, in the comments, in the fans, in the fandom. I know you're starting to see the comments. That's me.
It's all him.
I incepted this. I have started this over a year ago.
We've been talking about this for a long time.
Over a year ago. Arch Manning to Miami.
Even before Arch Manning was starting or getting any play time.
Yeah. Arch Manning was still in diapers, and I was talking about him going to Miami.
He was about it.
I was with it.
But you really think the Dolphins should just turn the page on Tua?
Absolutely. Oh
is that
my God.
Is that from a skill point of view or from an injury point of view?
So, here it is. I've put more thought into this situation than any right-minded man probably should. Here it is. This is the Tua situation that we are facing in Miami right now. We look lost without him.
100%.
We do.
Terrible.
I'm not.
Who's your back quarterback? Is it just Skyline?
Does it even fucking matter? let's be real here. It's a nobody. We should have known. We should have known. And that leads to my point of a few different things. So this could be a little bit of a rant, and just give me this for a moment. Here we go.
All right, let's get into
this is it. You went into the 2-0. I was just on Arch Manning.
I had to ask, though.
You had to ask. Here we go. So we look lost without Tua. Our backup quarterback situation is terrible.
Dismal.
Terrible. And I will say, I think that leads into a couple different things. So, is it management with Chris Greer, the GM? Fucking hate him. The guy's been with the franchise in some capacity since 2001. How? We've gone through multiple ownerships, multiple When they're cleaning house, does this guy just pick up a mop and start go? I'm the janitor. Like, how does he get by every time? He's the only guy. He's the only guy that is. And since he's been with the franchise, which he started as like a scout, like a scout coordinator,
something like that, yeah.
Like he was a talent scout. And basically, since the 2000s, we have been horrible at drafting talent.
Yeah.
So moving past that, we're not. That's a whole nother. I'll fill a whole show talking about the Dolphins. Trust me. So, our backup quarterback situation, is it management? Probably some, but this leads back to Tua as well. I think management needs to cater to Tua. I think Tua is maybe a little too mentally weak at this point in his career to have a capable backup quarterback because of the Fitzpatrick situation that happened a few years ago, because of the Flores situation. Tua just said it at the beginning of the season in that podcast, and it was big news. How would you feel going to work every day, someone telling you you're not good enough, you shouldn't be here, you can't do it right, this, that, and the other. Remember, everybody was talking. It was big news. It was huge news. He bashed Flores super hard. And the way he was about it, say what you will, I'll say I think it was fake. I think what he said was truth, but his demeanor with the way he said it, with his confidence and being okay about it and past it, it was fake. I think he has to be, because he knows he's a quarterback of an NFL team, and he knows that he's going to need to have confidence to do that. But I also think he's not past that mentally. I think he can't have a real quarterback behind him that can push him. So, that's the Tua situation right now. But to your point, is the skill? His skills are there.
For sure. He's
soft.
Good.
He's soft. I'll say it. I'll say it again. He's soft. I'm bigger than the guy.
Sidebar again.
Go for it.
An interesting question. So, because you're kind of like talking a lot of hot stuff about Tua here.
Tua, I could never do what you do, brother. I think I just seen an interview with you where you said, it looks a lot easier when you're eating chips on the couch.
100% it does. 100%.
Sideline society, baby.
I know, sideline boys. 100%. Couldn't do any. Wouldn't talk a lot of hot stuff about people. All of them are way better than we are right now. 100 times more successful, way more athletic.
You don't even want to get us on the moon landing. We'll really sell out about some scientists.
We'll sell out about some scientists. For sure.
But go ahead. What was your point?
Okay, so, if you could go back to the draft, you guys picked Tua, but you only had two options there. You could either take Tua, or you could take Jalen Hurts. Who would you take? And of course, this question comes from, obviously, Tua took Jalen Hurts' job in college.
Yes.
So, there's that whole thing there.
I can only have those two.
Those two are your two options. Who would you take? Would you still take Tua, or would you go Jalen?
I'll go Jalen Hurts.
Yeah?
He's won a Super Bowl.
He has not won a Super Bowl.
He's
been to a Super Bowl.
He's been to a Super Bowl, my bad. Yeah, you okay. Well, to be corrected. That's right, Nick Foles, baby.
Yeah, Nick Foles.
So Jalen Hurts has been to a Super Bowl.
Yes. He's
shown he can win in the playoffs.
He's also looked kind of terrible last year. Don't forget that. End of the season last year into the playoffs, absolutely terrible looking. The whole team. Granted, not just him. There's one thing on him, totally, but the whole team fell apart.
You're kind of selling me on Tua now. I'll give you that. You're selling me a little on Tua, and this goes back to my point. Tua has the skills. He can make the throws, and I used to question that, and I still say he doesn't have the elite level arm strength, but you don't need that. Drew Brees proved it.
No.
You don't need elite level arm strength. You need good enough. You got to be able to make the throw, which he can make. Tua's shown he can make the throw.
You got to make like medium, long distance throws in case.
And you got to have anticipation.
Anticipation, yes. And I feel like another big one is you definitely have to have QB IQ.
Yes, and I will say, man, this is gonna sound so bad. I didn't think I was gonna go this far on the first episode. This is rough.
So, let's say it.
My boy Tua, man. He's had a few concussions.
Yes.
Has anybody other than me noticed? Go back to his early career interviews, even Alabama, and look at his interviews now.
Yeah.
He has a little bit of a stutter going there now. I'm just saying those concussions, I think, are starting to wear a little bit, bro. He's still sharp. He's still in NFL. I'm not saying, but I'm just saying, like, his verbalage trying to get it out is definitely fallen off ever so slightly, and you notice it if you go and look at an old interview and then a new interview next to each other.
Yeah, it's rough. He's had some bad ones.
Dude.
They weren't good. I remember watching that one where he was throwing up the gang signs live. Yeah. That was rough to watch, definitely.
Dude, and that's my point, and it's like this is my point with you asking me about Jalen Hurts or Tua. I would take Jalen Hurts. And Tua may have a higher ceiling passing wise, just skill, talent passing.
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts, I'm not acting like he's injury free or never been hurt. I just don't think he's as soft as Tua.
No, definitely not.
Tua's had one healthy season.
Yeah.
One.
Definitely Jalen Hurts doesn't get hurt very often, that's for sure. And I would say in general, I'd say he's more athletic.
Yes, Tua, that's another thing as well, is like Tua, for his size, usually a smaller quarterback in the NFL, they have athleticism.
Exactly.
Russ, maybe not so much now as he's getting older,
obviously.
But early carear, Russ moved. That dude got out of the pocket every
100%.
play. Every play was out of the pocket.
Some of his Seattle days were wild.
Yeah, he was balling.
100%.
And it was kind of, and it's like, I just, and even on a smaller quarterback scale, when it comes to like Drew Brees, who I just referenced, he's a 6-foot quarterback with not a cannon of an arm.
No.
But Drew Brees had phenomenal pocket awareness.
He did.
Drew Brees was able to move within the pocket so well and get rid of the ball so quick and anticipate and just knew what. How many times did you see Drew Brees get blasted? How many times did you just flat out? I mean, I'm not saying it didn't happen. I'm sure. I'm sure it's the NFL. Everybody gets it. It's going to happen.
You're going to get blasted.
But the idea of like when did you ever see Drew Brees looking like Tua?
No, never.
The worst that Drew Brees ever had was the torn rotator cuff and separated shoulder deal, and obviously a year off from that he was coming back and winning Super Bowls. So I mean you got to. That's a prime example of not needing a great arm and not needing great size. You don't need to be Josh Allen that can throw it 70 yards and 6'6".
Obviously, that's nice. That helps.
Josh Allen's day. Don't we all want Josh Allen?
Another.
Would you take Josh Allen or Mahomes? Just off rip to build a franchise right now as they are.
I mean, I think honestly, even though he's having a terrible year, you have to go Mahomes. Mahomes. Look how else.
I'm not gonna lie, bro. I might take Josh Allen. Bro.
Really.
I just.
Interesting.
I know. Mahomes is Mahomes, bro.
Yes. Look at how many Super Bowls he has.
I know.
3 Super Bowls now.
You know what I will say? I think a lot of that's Andy Reid, though. I'm not gonna say Mahomes isn't the guy, bro. I'm not taking nothing away from Mahomes. But I will say, and this leads into another argument about football, is like, who's the greatest modern coach of the last 20 years? Is it Belichick or Andy Reid? And I think Andy Reid, honestly, and I think it was shown when Brady left. And I think I had an argument forever about Belichick that if you looked at his record before Brady, I remember making this argument when I was like 16 years old to people, and everybody thought I was nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, if you look at his record before Brady, he did nothing. Nothing.
Well,
he was a losing coach.
100%. Brady was definitely a major factor. Because even look at once Brady left the Patriots, they were kind of ass.
They were, and Brady got out. He knew it was crumbling, and he knew he didn't have the skill anymore to carry the team like that.
The only thing I will give definitely Bill is he did kind of have, which once again, it might not just be him, it could be other coordinators, stuff like that, just the team dynamic in general. He had a way of taking kind of subpar players and making them shine. Like, look at when the Patriots picked up Blunt, the running back.
Yeah. I mean, LeGarrette Blunt, he was going to be he was, before he knocked old Boise State on the jaw, that guy.
Yeah.
I mean, he was probably a second-round pick, they were saying, I thought.
Yeah. But he was kind of like, cause I don't think he was drafted by the Patriots.
No.
He was on a bunch of teams. And he went
to the Bucks for a minute, I thought.
He was on the Pittsburgh for a little bit. Philly. But he actually looked, I'm pretty sure, I could be wrong here once again, so, let me know. I'm pretty sure Blunt, he was in one of the Super Bowl seasons for the
Oh,
Patriots.
with the 100%.
Yeah,
100%.
he looked
100%.
pretty good that year.
The Deflategate year when the Colts, Rob Gronkowski's famous argument about that is, the deflated footballs didn't stop LeGarrette Blount from running for 200 yards and 4 touchdowns.
That's what I'm saying. He looked phenomenal.
He destroyed them all by himself.
Like I said, and then
but to the original point that I had brought up, the Mahomes Josh Allen thing as well. My argument with going into the Belichick and Reed is I think Mahomes benefits. I think Reed is the greatest modern coach.
Probably, to be honest with you,
especially offensively. He's an offensive genius. The guy's offensive.
Because Reed, once again, could be on here. He was the coach for Philly that got to them the Super Bowl.
Absolutely.
So he has 2 teams that he has taken 2 Super Bowls.
And Reed comes from the Mike Holmgren tree. Which comes from the Bill Walsh tree.
Yep.
Reed, his roots go back to Green Bay and Brett Favre. He's been around. He's been around.
Brett Favre, what a guy.
What do you guys think of Brett Favre?
Oh, what a guy.
So I didn't even know we were going here, but now that we're here, what he stole welfare?
Something
from
like
Mississippi State welfare or something?
Something like that. Which is a wild thing to do when you're Brett Favre, quarterback in the NFL, or ex-quarterback in the NFL. You're on Levi Jeans commercials.
You know what's a real wild move? And this is outside of the football, and I'm not trying to get political at all. I don't want to even get into those things.
No.
But just a funny tidbit. Brett Favre was at a Donald Trump rally and came up to talk. And I was just sitting there thinking, I was like, do none of these people remember, just a year ago, he was in a lot of trouble for, robbing welfare? I was like, no way is he just up here right now, got a whole crowd cheering. I was like, people fucking love Brett Favre.
They do.
People fucking love him.
He was an amazing quarterback. He was fun to watch. I loved Brett Favre as a kid.
Dude,
he was probably one of my favorite quarterbacks as a kid, to be honest with you.
I'm not going to lie, I always thought he was a little overrated, personally. Now, his real heyday was before me in the 90s. Obviously, I'm in my early 30s now. I didn't really start watching football. My first real season watching football was Ben Roethlisberger's rookie season.
Yeah.
I remember watching Roethlisberger as a rookie. It was the big story, him as a rookie leading that team 15-1.
Tell you, Ben used to drive me wild.
Yeah.
As a kid.
Big Ben's a dog.
He's a dog. So many times you'd think he was about to be sacked, and dude would just shrug it off, and then would drop a dime. Wow.
And then throw 500 yards.
It was insane.
And I feel like he had so many games where he threw for 500 yards.
He did, and he was such if you watched him try to move in the pocket, he was great at moving in the pocket, but he was so big it almost looked awkward, him.
And he wasn't fast.
No, 100% not slow.
That's it played into him a little bit as well.
But he was so big, he was hard to tackle, and he had pretty solid pocket awareness. So all he would do is he would just know when to step up or back up in the pocket, and
when his awareness would lack, his size and strength
came up. Yes,
would usually
fill in that gap.
When he's as big as the lineman trying to tackle him.
So, it helps out a lot. But obviously he was not without his controversy either.
I heard the allegations. It seems as though these NFL quarterbacks are just deflating footballs, robbing welfare, and just
doing crazy things at balls.
They're just. The life of an NFL quarterback.
You just wild out.
And everybody wants to hate on Baker. I ain't never heard about that guy being in trouble.
No, never, not once.
Oh wait, Oklahoma. The cops caught his ass.
College days, though, everyone's a little wild in college.
I'll never forget when Baker was a rookie. They did, how I forget what channel, YouTube, whatever, does it. The rookie ratings, rookies reacting to their rookie ratings in Madden.
Yeah. I've seen that.
They had Baker, 6-7 years ago, whenever he was a rookie, and they had him on and they showed him his speed, and I think they gave him an 82 or something. It was somewhere around there, low 80s, and it was right after he'd gotten tackled and caught by the cops, and they show him looking at the 82 speed, and then they show a clip of the cop chasing him down and tackling him, and then they clip back to him, and he's like, they might have gave me a couple points on that one. So that's something I always thought was funny.
That's too funny.
So I guess Baker did get into trouble.
Okay, so it's a quarterback thing, I guess.
Jameis got into trouble. Cam got into trouble.
Cam did, obviously. We all know Deshaun Watson.
Dude, what did you think of that Cam fight with Cam Newton fucking in the wizard hat?
But I don't know why, as any sane human being in your right mind, you look at Cam Newton's
He's 6'6".
big man.
He's bigger than Roethlisberger,
That's what I'm
actually.
saying.
He's bigger than
Look at
Roethlisberger.
Cam Newton. Big dude. And I guess, maybe, I don't know if they knew he was Cam Newton, but like, if you knew he was
They
Cam
knew.
I was about to say, you probably knew. If you knew he was Cam Newton, like, why would you even try? Have you watched Cam Newton's games?
Yeah, I don't know what led up to it. I don't know if they ever really said what the build up to it is. Obviously, we've seen the clip. If you haven't seen the clip, watch the clip.
For sure.
But they definitely knew it was Cam. I mean, I think it was one of his events. It was kind of one of like his youth football events or something. And as well, I mean, how many 6'6" black guys are walking around in a wizard hat? Let's be real here.
Yeah.
You know, we ain't gotta live with the stereotypes. You know, how many guys like that are walking around with wizard hats on?
Yeah, that's that.
And honestly, I will say, I remember in the clip that there's one point, because I mean, obviously there was multiple people in the encounter.
Yeah.
And he's got like a guy here, and he's got a guy there, and there's a guy coming from the side, and then he's all of them, and they're not budging him because
he's Cam Newton.
He's fucking Cam Newton.
Yeah.
Like, you should have known. But the one that really got me is there's a fourth guy, and he comes in after, and you see him from because there's a couple different camera clips of it. So you see him from all of them, but you get a good angle from one particular one where you really see. Yeah. Like, he comes from like 6-8 feet away, and he gets like a gallop. Like, he gets a 2-3 step lead in and rocks Cam, and you know he just put everything he had into it.
Put his soul into that.
And Cam didn't even budge and didn't even look at him, and it's just still just throwing. I was just no. If I throw everything I got at a guy, no.
That's it. I'm gonna be 100% honest. If I hit you with everything I got,
you get a 2-3 step lead in.
Every ounce I have in me, I throw into you, and you don't even look my way, bro. I'm leaving. I'm telling my boys.
Y'all got it.
That's the thing. I'm telling my boys that already on you. I'm like, yo, y'all got to take care of this one. This is on you guys.
If they try to talk shit to me afterwards, I'm gonna pull the clip. I tried.
I give them my all. That's all I have. Why should I get my ass beat with you?
For real. Somebody needs to drive us to the hospital.
Yeah, someone's got to get us there.
But speaking of which, that reminds me of like a hilarious scene from the new Roadhouse. Did you watch that?
I did, yes.
The scene when the first bar fight encounter, he's like, "How far is the nearest hospital?"
Yeah.
Great scene.
Great scene. It was a good movie. I liked it.
That movie was actually like way underrated.
It was. Conor McGregor's super funny.
Dude, guy was on a ball of coke the
whole time. When he pulls up to the crib, like where all the bikers at, and he's like, "Where the fuck is everyone?"
Crashes the car into the palm tree.
So funny.
Conor's out of control. What's so funny about that movie as well is like, he wasn't even in like the first almost half of the movie.
No, he wasn't.
Like, you're like, where's Conor McGregor? And then he shows up naked, like burning down a market.
Randomly there.
Like, pretty wild. But great movie.
Definitely check it out.
But moving on. So, since we did kind of talk a little bit about it, we referenced the moon landing some, just kind of getting into some fun topics, you know, just getting a little off the sports thing. We kind of delved off topic there with the Roadhouse thing and all that. So let's just go ahead. What is like one of your favorite conspiracies other than like the moon landing? You know, we'll save the moon landing for another time.
Okay, so other than the moon landing,
what's like your most convincing, other than like the Epstein and, you know, the obvious?
Yeah, the obvious stuff. I would have to say like the whole like Mandela effect type thing.
Okay.
With like how like you know, like they say like I think we talked about that actually the other day, like how they say like the CIA is trying to do like some sort of experiment on like what they can get away with like telling us.
Yes, how much they can alter history.
Yes.
Right in front of our eyes, and how much we'll just accept it.
Yeah, exactly.
Basically just doing like a mass level gaslighting.
Basically, yes.
No, that never happened. What are you talking
about? Yeah, just straight gaslighting.
Nope, didn't go how you thought it went.
The entire planet Earth.
Basically is realistically what it is. So I mean, all you modern single mothers out there, get mad.
Yeah, get upset.
Get pissed.
We'll all be gaslit right now.
Yeah, and we know you love that word.
But no, because there's two ways you can look at that perspective. It's either A, like the CIA or some sort of government entity is, like you said, gaslighting us into, you know,
Right.
Not-
Or there is the more crazier
one, where it is multiple
multi-dimensional.
dimensions merging together type situation, or where like possible that like people from different dimensions got sucked into this dimension. It's hard to say. There's a lot of different theories about it on that one.
One I would like to touch on with that is, because I really do actually like the Mandela Effect. I find it super interesting. There was a really good movie about that called The Mandela Effect on Hulu. Real original name there.
Yeah.
But it was a really good movie actually, and it was fictional. It's not like a documentary. It's like a movie with a story, like a fictional story going with it. But it was a pretty good movie. But my thing with the Mandela Effect is like my one real big is I think it is a gaslighting thing.
100%.
Because I think the Fruit of the Loom thing really put it out there. And I think some of the other things are just to throw you off or to just like it's like they aren't real Mandela effects, or like they aren't like even something they're trying to gaslight you about.
Yeah.
But it's just different now because it's different. But so what I wanted to really touch on is the Mandela Effect. Shazam. Sinbad. That is the big...
Yeah.
That's always been one of the big ones. Sinbad himself has said he never made that movie. The clips that you find of it are joke clips that he made after the Mandela Effect. And you can even actually tell, because they use makeup to de-age him a little bit to try and make it look like 90s Sinbad slightly.
Yeah.
And it's actually, when you look closely and you're really paying attention, it's modern. I mean, not modern. He's Sinbad from 7 years ago when the Mandela Effect was kind of taken off. And real quick, as well in those clips, there's a bunch of other crazy, like, conspiracy things all alluded to in the background that they kind of make fun of.
So are you saying that the Shazam thing didn't happen? Is that what you're saying? Are you saying?
I'm saying that movie does not exist yet.
Does not exist. Okay, interesting.
Did you see it? Did you watch it?
I have not actually. No.
No. And I will say, a bunch of people say they've watched this movie, and I know why. And it's all over the internet as to why, and people just refuse to accept it. You didn't see Shazam with Sinbad. What you saw was Kazam with Shaq. Kazam, which was a movie with Shaq where he played a genie, is so close, and it's the same time frame. So people, they see the Shazam thing and they want to just believe, like, oh yeah, I watched that movie with Sinbad because it's so familiar with the premise of the other one that they did see.
I feel like also another thing is a thing with the human mind a lot of times is you kind of like, you start connecting dots to things that maybe aren't even really there.
I do it all the time.
Oh, 100%, all the time.
So, I definitely, the Mandela Effect's a really good one. I'll say my biggest conspiracy outside of, like, you know, the bigger, more modern ones.
More modern type stuff. There's a lot.
I'm racking my brain right now. I'm trying to think of like a good one here. So, here's, okay, boom. Here's mine.
Okay, let's hear it.
That the Illuminati are actually in the church at this point. They have infiltrated and become one with the church. They are the Vatican. The Illuminati and the Vatican, the Knights Templar, they have all become one. And I think it's starting to like emerge and show its face in these major modern corporations that are BlackRock.
Yeah.
And I can't remember the other two names of the other two companies. People, please, this is like, hey,
it's when we need you.
We need you. We need you. So there's two other companies, and they basically all own into each other. 1, 2, and 3. This guy owns this guy. Yeah. This guy owns this guy. This guy owns that guy. And between the three of them, they all own each other.
Basically, yeah.
And it's really one company masquerading as three.
100%.
And they're pretty much ruling the world.
Oh, for sure.
And this goes into the banking conspiracy. This is a good conspiracy, this is what I'm saying, because it all leads into one
conspiracy, yeah.
And it's the banking conspiracy with the Rothschilds, you know, that they own the decentralization, all this blah, blah, blah. I think the Illuminati and the church became one, the Knights Templar. That's my conspiracy.
That's conspiracy. They're all one.
Yep.
100% I believe that, like, everyone worries about, like, you know, the presidency and stuff like that, who's running the country, you know, even in other countries, like, who's
behind the curtain.
Yeah, that's I 100% believe that the real true powers of the world are corporations.
Absolutely, especially now.
Yes, especially now. Money is the ultimate power. It rules everything in this world.
100%.
And I fully believe it's all companies. I also believe that companies like, for example, like kind of like, you know, the big ones like Walt Disney, stuff like that, they own so many other companies in secret that like they literally probably control everything. Because once again, back in the 20s with I forget who it was, like President Roosevelt or something like that. Once again, I'm not sure, so correct me if I'm wrong here.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, they put into effect the the laws against monopolies, so companies couldn't own everything.
I want to say that's actually Andrew Jackson.
And like,
It could be. We could both be wrong.
I can't even put a random president.
I'm trying to be like I know some shit, and I could totally be wrong.
I just picked a random president that sounded old, so you know.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, it sounded close enough. But they put that effect in like during the Depression or right after the Depression to stop monopolization. Because
yes, now they masquerade as other corporations.
Now they have to masquerade it to hide
the three being one.
Exactly, because they can't because of the monopoly laws.
Yes.
But obviously, once again, if you own the government, there's ways to get around those laws.
Dude, when you make the laws, when you look at like everything, when you make the system, and don't be fooled, corporations do make the system.
100%.
You know, even in the 20th century with the Rockefellers and again the Rothschilds and the banking system. The Rockefellers, people don't realize how much of like what the modern public school system's education basis is based off of like what they decided 100 years ago.
Oh,
the Rockefellers were the ones deciding.
100%.
Like they were the ones that created public education because they wanted a certain level of knowledge to be brought to people because they can't deal with fucking idiots. You gotta have some knowledge. But they also can't have you being too aware and too smart. And then obviously there are people that are too aware and too smart, and there are elite-minded individuals that have IQs of 160 and this, that, and the other, and they go and pluck those ones. They go get them. They go get them and they put them on their side. Yep. And when they won't come to their side, they make them disappear. And that's about that.
100%.
So,
the thing I always found wild about like these so-called like kind of like conspiracy theories, and obviously some of them are really like crazy and wild and stuff like that, and I understand it, but like a lot of them kind of like the one you brought up, is like, I don't even really see how people don't believe that.
I feel like at this point, like I don't want to be like stay woke, bro. Like that's so cliche, and the woke movement has become something so different.
Totally.
And it's just, I feel like it's almost impossible that the only people that aren't waking up to it are the previous generations, the boomers, that are kind of at the end of their lifetime.
Yeah, what does it matter?
They've lived their life their way so long. They're going on their cruises till the day they die.
Yeah.
You know, so. But I feel like anybody who is a real player in this world anymore, anybody who has real merit, anybody who's really trying to be something in life, anybody who's grinding, anybody who's doing anything out here, still living, realistically, like, how could you not?
You have to see, like 100%. Like,
you can see the game's rigged against you, right?
Like,
we all can.
We all see it, like.
Hey, I mean, I see it. We're over here trying to make a podcast.
Yeah, trying to.
Because the game's rigged.
It is.
Sucks.
Find some way to get an advantage in it.
Yeah, so this is a good point where I'm going to drop in. Like, comment, subscribe. I'm trying to line that up. It's not going to line up. It's actually probably going to be above me, so whatever. Yeah, but yeah, like, comment, and subscribe.
Yeah, help us out.
Yeah, please. God, please. You have no idea.
It's rough out here.
But, so, moving on. Actually, just saying this about the whole God, please thing, and as well, what do you think of, like, the religion conspiracy? What do you think of, like, the idea that they're, like, I don't want to be into the idea of, like, what do you necessarily believe, but do you believe modern religion is just used to control the masses? Do you believe that's what Christianity basically became 500 years ago? What are your thoughts on that?
I would say on that note, I don't believe really in organized religion. Like, as far as, like, the churches go. For example, just random one. Go outside, get in your car, drive around your neighborhood, your city, or whatever, and look at all the churches you see that are massive. Like, I know down here, I see some massive churches, like, they're huge.
For reference, we're in Tampa Bay. We're in the Tampa Bay area.
Yep. But you see churches here that they could fit thousands of people in them, and they gotta be millions of dollars to build.
Absolutely, especially in today's world.
For sure. So in my head, I've always thought about that. Why does a church place of worship need to spend that much money on like a building. You know what I'm saying? Like, think of all the good a church could do if you just
with that money
yeah,
to the community.
You could just keep your churches small knit communities. That's where churches are supposed to be. And you could use those millions of dollars you spent on building that massive church, for example, on charity, on helping the community, on a bunch of different stuff. So as far as I go, I don't really believe in organized religion so much. Once again, kind of got a little off topic there for your actual question there. But yes, I do believe, 100%. Because think about it. Why wouldn't you use as a power, whether it be back in the 1700s, whether it be now? Why wouldn't you, if you were someone in power, wouldn't you use religion to your advantage? Because if you're religious, you can literally almost get away with telling your people to do just about anything if you say it's in the name of your religion.
Within reason, and a lot of people, I mean, it's been very dangerous at a lot of times.
100%.
I mean, with cults, you know, there's a famous like question / joke almost. It's like, what's the difference between a religion and a cult? Most people say nothing. The difference is a religion you can leave.
Yes, 100%.
Cults you can't leave.
There is
a little discrepancy. You can leave a religion usually. A cult, like, there's no leaving. You're there.
You're in that.
Yeah,
that's your life.
But I will say, it does seem like the power manipulation for sure is there, and it's obviously been abused. Its tale is old as time.
It always has been.
I mean, I'm not gonna preach and start thumping, you know, the Bible or anything. I got one right there. Yep. But legitimately, you know, I mean, even in 2,000 years ago, you know, that people were being called out for gambling in churches. You know, you know, it's always been that way. There's always been a bunch of snakes out there that just want to manipulate 100%. And run the system and use the power to their advantage, like you said.
Yeah, why wouldn't you?
So, I mean, and honestly, I'm not gonna lie, I've thought about starting a religion. I mean, we're in the Tampa Bay area. We are, you know, if you know anything about like modern religions, Scientology is huge here.
Massive.
They've tried getting me a couple of times. I've talked to them a couple of times. I tried hitting on one of the chicks once. She was not having it.
Fine, that's good. I mean,
let me tell you, it was the flea market.
They
had a booth.
Respect the game, but
they had a booth at a flea market, and they had a fine blonde. They knew what they were doing.
They knew.
They knew they were fishing for guys.
Try to get you.
But no, I thought about trying to start one for the very idea of, like, I was like, the power, like if you can get tax free, which is a modern thing. I mean, but you know, I feel like taxes have been around forever. You know, churches have been collecting money from people forever, and it's kind of been one of those things where it's endless money once you get people to believe.
It is 100%.
You know, and you just tell people they're pieces of shit if they don't get it.
Yeah, that's it.
You don't tell them that directly, but you make them feel that way.
That's another probably kind of hot take I would take on it. I kind of think churches, they probably should pay taxes on some things. Let me put it to you like, so it's obviously charitable work, you don't pay taxes on that regardless. Even now, I'm pretty sure like you don't pay tax for charity stuff, obviously. And donations, I guess, kind of.
The big thing though with a lot of charities is like how much of that money really goes. I don't know. No. Like, I've always heard a lot of these charities, like, they get 2 cents of every buck.
They do. That's true. I mean, like, you look at like the CEOs of stuff like Red Cross and stuff like that, bro. They have like hundreds of thousands of dollars like payrolls, like millions of dollar payrolls and stuff like that, which is insane to me. Which I understand, if you work for a charity, you obviously have to make money. Like, as cool as it is to like donate your time. If you work for a charity,
you have to live.
You have to live too, obviously, 100%.
Shit ain't free.
But I feel like getting paid well above a livable wage.
What's the one really famous Joel Osteen or whatever? Isn't that his name, or isn't he like the super famous pastor that's like had like abs and shit and lived in like a 20-room mansion?
Yeah.
Joel Osteen is, I think, his name or something. But
yeah. See, those like those like super like
superstar churches,
mega churches, I think they're called. Those people, when they're like racking in like millions upon millions of dollars, and they have their own TV show and stuff like that, they should probably pay taxes. Now, like,
absolutely,
your little church down the road in your town that has
40 members.
40 members. No, give those guys a break.
So maybe there should be something to the size. Like, maybe once you get over 1,000 members or 500 members, At that point, you start paying taxes, or you get into like different tax
brackets. Or another way you could do it, as long as that church is doing X amount of the yearly profit in actual charitable work, maybe then they get a tax cut.
I like that. Now, I guess that would be, that would lead into a bunch of logistical questions as to how you.
Hey,
yeah, I mean, we're not going to get into all that.
I'm not a politician, so I don't know how
this
that
actually
works. So, but yeah,
there would
random
be
thoughts there.
There's some guy that's going to watch this at some point, and he's going to lose his hairline over what we just said. He's like, you don't understand anything you're talking about.
Some accountant somewhere, or someone who knows more than me.
We don't know the bureaucracy behind it. Trust me, there's plenty of red tape, I'm sure.
So, but also that kind of leads me into, once again, kind of the church aspect and the conspiracy aspect. Have you ever heard of the, I forget the official name for it, it's like the planet Earth prison conspiracy?
I don't know if I've heard it referenced as that. I might be thinking of what I've heard, just real quick, maybe. What I've heard is that this is like a nature preserve of sorts, is the conspiracy I've heard.
Okay.
The reason we don't have interactions is because it's been agreed upon that we get left alone.
Yeah. Okay, so that's another one. I think I've heard that one too, and that's an interesting one, definitely too.
Yeah.
But the planet Earth prison conspiracy is that Adam and Eve, obviously Christian religion,
supposedly the starters of humanity,
they were actually alien prisoners that got put on Earth. Earth was an alien prison. So our concept of Adam and Eve, they were just the first prisoners to be put on Earth. And that's the reason why...
What are we in prison for? Or what is the imprisonment from?
Whatever Adam and Eve did, fucking millions of years ago.
Does this play into like soul traps and stuff and the blinding light you see when you die? Like I've heard things about that as well.
I don't really know too much of ties into that. The only real thing I know about it is, like I said, is the conspiracy theory is Adam and Eve were aliens of some kind. Okay. Which, once again, in this conspiracy, we're not talking aliens like the little green men.
Yes.
We're talking like we would technically...
We could be considered aliens.
We are aliens, technically. So...
Hey, we call Mexicans aliens, so...
Yeah, hey. So Adam and Eve were the original Earthling aliens. They were sent here for whatever crimes they committed. But Earth was an alien prison. So this is where they were imprisoned. And then obviously, that's why we don't have any contact with the outside world. And you still see aliens flying around. They're almost like the prison guards.
Okay. No, so that's a very interesting, kind of thought. And I obviously the questions couldn't be answered, but the questions that I just asked, I would want to wonder, what is the imprisonment of or from?
No clue.
Obviously, yeah, it would be impossible to answer. But, so... I've had my own personal... Now, this is... I'm probably not the first person to have the idea, but I will say, in my realm and sphere of knowledge, this is an original idea to me. I'm not going to say if you Google and go find some obscure chat forum from 2003...
Someone maybe has already said it.
Maybe already, but I don't know. My thought was... And Joe Rogan references it a lot, too, on this episode of America, blah, blah, blah... That this is I've always wondered, is this just some kind of mass reality show of they just mixed a bunch of different species from different planets all together and just, and the idea of when you see aliens and UFOs, you just happen to catch a cameraman. It's just one big reality show and we're the fucking joke. I've just always wondered. I'm not saying I fully buy into it, but I wonder.
I was going to say this. You know how upset I will be if someone out there actually
laughs at your life,
made my life this way for entertainment? Well, that's messed up.
Boy, we're here for your entertainment.
I'll be so salty if that came out. Dang, bro, you couldn't have dealt me a better hand.
I mean, obviously, the idea with reality shows, there is scripting there, but it's the same thing as the basic premise of this podcast. We have an idea of where we want to go, but we don't have it scripted word for word.
We kind of let it flow.
So the reality show, maybe your life is your life because of the circumstances surrounding your life.
Well, that's true.
But like they just put it together and just let it go as it goes, and they influence things politically. True. Maybe talking to the higher of the elites.
Yeah, and
like people talk about.
And I would suppose at this point, we would be on like season
5,862
or something like that.
Who knows?
I would assume each season would be like a generation.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's they're probably not getting the day to day.
No, I think they get the
highlights.
Highlights,
they're getting like the Sports Center top 10s.
Sure. So on that note, do you think we would even be on the show technically?
Might have popped up in the background.
Yeah, I think it might have been a little background text here or there.
We're just waving at the camera.
I know, we're just back there. With some like obscure alien like fan groups like favorite background characters.
Yeah, we could. I mean, I will say I don't think I've done anything in my life of noteworthiness to make the Earth reality show. If there is one, if there is one that the galaxy is watching. I definitely, if I'm on it, I literally just walked by in the background.
Like background character vibe for sure.
I'm an extra at this point. But hey, if you like, comment, and subscribe. See,
we could become leading roles in this.
Who fucking knows?
Alien reality show.
Jake Paul, baby, Tyson.
Yeah.
We'll fucking beat up over the hill boxers.
Yeah, just like
I'll do it. You think I'll go beat up some 70-year-old man?
Yeah. for a bunch of money, sure. So do you think that fight was rigged?
Absolutely.
100%.
Absolutely.
Have you? Because obviously you watched the fight, yeah.
I watched the highlights. Yeah, I saw what needed to be saw.
Yeah. And then if you go and you watch Mike Tyson's workouts, he looks totally different.
He went like half speed.
He did. You could see him. He would like kind of like almost like stop himself. And then you see him in his warm up, his workouts, and my man's going ham like fast. He looks good. And
you know what my thing was? In the first round, Tyson did catch Paul at one point, and he let up because he knew he could get him real quick. Yeah. I think, and that's what I thought. If it wasn't going to be a rigged fight leading up to the fight, obviously there was much debate. Is it going to be fixed? Is it not? Blah 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 blah. Leading up to the fight, my predictions were if it wasn't fixed, Jake Paul's gonna need to survive the first 2 to 3 rounds. He ain't putting no work in. He's just got to survive it. And after 2 or 3 rounds, Tyson's age,
he's gonna get gassed.
He's gonna be tired.
For sure.
And that's always been the knock on Tyson. You get past the first few rounds, he gets frustrated, he gets tired, he starts biting Evander Holyfield's ear.
Yep.
It's never a good look.
Never a good look.
You get Tyson past about the 5th round, it ain't never been pretty.
No.
So. We'll keep it real there, but that was my prediction if it wasn't fixed, and obviously it was. So and you referenced the workout. I think Tyson could have destroyed him probably if he really wanted to, but I also saw something where Tyson made like 40 million, I think.
Oh, I'm sure.
40 million, I think, off of that. Which honestly, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, 40 million is more money than I'll probably ever touch.
It will be.
I'm not saying 40 million ain't a lot. Trust me, brother. You should see my bank account right now. It ain't good.
Yeah.
But 40 million in the scheme of boxing with Mayweather and Pac, they made $500 million off of that. It's 40 million. Really, I mean, that's great money. But
even Conor McGregor, when he went over and he fought Mayweather. Yeah, he made
200 million or something
like that.
It's an insane amount of money.
Insane amount of money.
Yeah, it's and let me tell you, I'll go fight a fixed fight with Jake Paul for 40 million. I'll do it for 20 million. I'll do it for fucking 40 grand.
I'll fight a non-fixed fight with Jake Paul for 10 million. I will fight a non-fixed fight with Mike Tyson for 5 million and just get absolutely destroyed for 5 million. Are you kidding me?
Get this to Tyson.
Well, I might have a little CTE afterwards, but your boy.
You are gonna look just like what's his name in The Hangover.
Yeah, but you'll be
Stoosh.
It'll be the greatest fight ever.
It's only gonna be 12 seconds.
One punch is all it's gonna take.
It's gonna be a little dancing. Tyson's gonna lead with a jab and a hook, and that's gonna be about it.
I'm gonna wake up in the hospital.
It's cool,
but my bank account
rich as fuck. Actually, the hospital bills might.
We'd have to work something into the contract. They'll have to pay for hospital bills.
Those contracts. Get a lawyer.
Yep, I'll get a lawyer. For
Rule number 1 in life in America: get a lawyer.
Is there any lawyers out there?
Yeah.
Hook your boy up.
There is the what is it? The lockpicking lawyer on YouTube.
Oh yeah,
I like him. So yeah, no, I mean, I definitely think the fight was fixed.
Yeah.
As far as, just kind of this being our first episode and, filling time and just kind of going where it goes, I kind of am curious, like, not like UFC fight, but who's like your boxer? Who's the GOAT? Is it Tyson in his prime? Who do you think's like the real boxer? Is it Ali? Is it do you go Rocky Marciano?
I think as the ultimate GOAT boxer of all time, I think you do probably have to go with Ali. For sure.
I kind of feel like you got to go with Ali. I feel like prime Tyson at like 19.
Oh, he was something different. Don't get me wrong. He was awesome.
I just think Ali could last him. I think he would be able to last it. I mean, Ali lasted against George Foreman.
That's what I'm
I
saying.
mean, Frazier knocked him out, but
Yeah. I have to go Ali for sure. Just as the ultimate GOAT of boxing.
yeah.
Like I said,
What about UFC?
UFC, the ultimate GOAT of UFC.
Who's that pound for pound?
I don't know. I feel like you might. I mean, obviously you have to have like a lot of people will say John Jones, but I don't know. He is super good.
John Jones is incredible.
Is incredible, but he's kind of flaky of late.
And he can't stop juicing. He can't stay off that nose candy.
Yeah, and like I said, he's just flaky. He won't fight Tom Aspin.
Is he ducking?
He's ducking, 100%. Which is a strange thing. Like he says, Tom doesn't have enough legacy for him to fight, and which I get. You wanna, because he obviously John Jones is getting close to retirement, so he's worried about his
he's getting up there now.
He's worried about his legacy. But in my thoughts, if you're a professional UFC fighter, especially a champion, bro, shouldn't you be willing to fight anyone, anytime? Like kind of touch.
Kind of the idea. If he's got
at least anyone. Like I understand in a way, like if you're a top rank contender or you're the champion, yeah, maybe you don't fight an unranked guy. But if they're a top dog, I feel like you have to fight them.
If they're top 3 or 4,
yeah,
you probably got to give them a chance.
I feel like you have to.
At some point.
Like, why would you specifically duck that fight? And
So
then he wants to fight Alex Pereira, which would be a cool fight, but
isn't Pereira really old? Is he getting older?
I mean he's like 34 or something like that.
I feel like that's old for an athlete.
Not really for the UFC.
That's true. UFC, I feel like fighting experience really does matter.
Weirdly enough, for like a sport where you literally do just get beat up the entire time, it's weird. Actually, like I think like the average UFC fighting age is like 30, which is like you go to like football, you're like close to the end of your career.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of. I mean, and if you look historically, I mean Randy Couture, I mean that guy was fighting into his 40s.
Yeah,
there's been guys that have lasted for sure.
But back to your point, so you could say John Jones for sure, I guess, because he's a GOAT for sure.
He's a GOAT, but is he the GOAT?
That's the thing I'm saying. Obviously, I love my boy Conor McGregor.
No.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying
No.
I just got to shout it out.
Okay, all right. He had a great role in Roadhouse. I'll give him that.
But I mean, I think you got to go with someone like John St. Pierre or
St. Pierre's the dog.
Dog for sure. Or
Khabib. Never lost.
Yeah, but I don't know if he fought long enough to be considered the GOAT.
I mean, he went like 30-0, 31-0, something like that. I
Yeah,
mean, I don't know, something like that.
That wasn't all UFC fights. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I think he's like 13-0 in the UFC
that's
or
what
something.
I'm saying. Like, if you talk about
The guy was wrestling bears as a kid.
No, he's phenomenal. That whole like cousin brother camp of his that he has. All those dudes are phenomenal.
Those dudes are they're
insane.
That's like the Gracie clan too.
Yeah, insane.
Anybody in that Gracie camp is just
they're good.
You better be about it.
But I'm gonna say, like I said, St. Pierre or probably maybe Silva.
I was kind of leaning towards Silva. I feel like I don't know why, and maybe it's not forgotten, but I feel like Silva's peak there for that like 3-4 years is kind of forgotten.
It is, but dude,
he was kind of unbeatable there.
He was insane.
He was kind of really unbeatable there for a few years.
He was.
And I mean, he was just so technical. He just had it really worked out.
He was.
But I mean, I'll tell you right now who I'm gonna go with. It's Royce Gracie.
Yeah.
The OG UFC winner, UFC number 1 and UFC number 2, he won.
Yeah.
He won the first 2. Back when there was no weight classes.
I don't know,
Have you ever watched those?
I have, yeah.
Yeah? Dude, I've watched them. Bro, insanity.
It is wild.
I mean, there was a guy out there with one boxing glove, like just, they were just like, yeah, go ahead, you're good.
Go fight, it's fine. insane.
Like, I mean, Hoist Gracie was fighting 300-pound guys. There was no weight classes. There was no rounds. There was no time limit.
Yeah, he's kind of.
And you fought 3 times a night because it was a gauntlet. You like those first Ultimate Fighting Championships lived up to the name of really being Ultimate Fighting Champion. Like you're gonna fight 3 or 4 times tonight if you want to win this. Like you better be able to really last, and you're gonna fight a guy that's 100 pounds bigger than you.
What do you think about the concept of like a tag team UFC fight?
Oh my God, we're getting into wrestling now.
This is Matt said.
Dude, it could be too much. I don't know.
It'd be insane.
Could you like? What is the transitional period? Are you allowed like a tag team move? Can you like? Could you have a choke and then the guy comes in with like a dropped elbow on his face? Like
that would be the question. What if all you had to do, you had to you have like 2 gates, one for this side, one for this side. If you want to tag out, you gotta make hand contact, like a tap.
You gotta actually make contact. But when you make the contact, so what would happen? Would the ref have to break it and then the new guy comes in?
You just keep it going.
How do you stop?
You just keep it going.
So the new guy just comes in and jumps on him?
Yeah.
And then what happens to the other guy that tagged his hand? Is he supposed to stop and get out?
Like, he's gotta get out.
But the guy that's still choking him, like, is not letting him go?
Well, I feel like in this situation...
I feel like this would be a clusterfuck.
Yeah, but the guy who's still choking him has someone else to deal with at this point.
I mean, you're going to stop choking a guy when there's another professional fighter. Like
choking you out.
That's true. Alright, maybe. I don't...
Or, what if, take away the tag team of it, what if you just had a 2-on-2?
I kind of like that.
You get the 4, best fighters of a weight class. Whatever weight class you want to go with, and you have them go at it. You can do it free-for-all.
By round.
Yeah.
I like the by round. So you have 5 rounds.
Mm-hmm.
So that and it works out where you have like a lead fighter and a secondary fighter.
So you
have a guy for 3 rounds and a guy for 2 rounds.
So you jump off 1 round this guy, 1 on that guy, 1 on this guy.
And you have to strategize because you have to, whoever you use in the first round you can't use again in the second round.
Or what if you did it like a relay and you literally go 5 rounds, 5 fighters. You got to pick how they fight.
Oh my God, dude!
Straight relaying it.
So real quick, on another note, we were talking about goats in the UFC here. Don't get enough flowers, and I know he's in a lot of trouble with the WWE right now. I don't know. I haven't looked into all the stories. I don't know. Brock Lesnar in the UFC. I know he had that spleen issue, and he was never quite the same after that. But boy, he had a 2-year run. Lesnar,
I can't remember his exact record.
He lost to Frank Mir in his first fight. Yeah. I remember. And then he smashed Frank Mir's fucking face in a year later. He fucking destroyed that guy. And I think he only lost like 2 fights because he lost to Sean Conlon or whatever, the heavyweight that beat him, and that was at the point where he was already having the spleen issues.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure his record he didn't fight.
He only lost like 2 or 3 fights.
Yeah,
but he only fought maybe 7 or 8.
That's what I said. I'm pretty sure it was like
short-lived career,
like 6-3 or 7-3, something like that. So he didn't have a great record.
But I fucking love Lesnar, man. I feel like he's a goat.
But obviously you've seen his fights, and I'm sure you've seen him.
But I use him in UFC video game.
The videos and pictures of him sitting on the little fucking stool, he looks so big.
The guy just looks like an albino gorilla.
Just
sitting
massive.
I just love that he's from Montana and lives on a ranch.
Yeah.
Frank Mir, referencing that fight, I'll never forget. After the fight, he was so hyped, and Joe Rogan's in the ring.
Yeah.
It's right after, and he's, what are you gonna do next? Joe Rogan's this big compared. Joe Rogan's 5'5", but whatever. And Lesnar just grabs the mic, and Rogan's still trying to hang on to it, that's my fucking mic. And fucking Lesnar, he's pulls out his mouthpiece, and he's Frank Mir had a horseshoe up his ass, and I told him that a year ago. I pulled that son of a bitch out, and I beat him over the head. I was this country motherfucker. This Montana-looking ass cracker. I was I like him. I like Lesnar. When he said, I'll never forget him saying it.
Yeah, no, Lesnar's dope, definitely.
Yeah, but obviously he's not the GOAT. But I would take Hoist Gracie as my GOAT. I think just boy, for not having rounds, weight classes, fighting multiple times a night.
It was a wild time.
A wild time, and he was, and he wasn't a big dude. He was a very whelming looking guy. Like,
yeah,
I remember like watching, because I watched those first UFCs. Obviously not live. I was too young, but I've watched them since.
Yeah,
and I had the privilege of hindsight, knowing like Royce Gracie, like, oh wow, that's Royce Gracie. But you can very much see at the time him walking in there, and you're watching that shit live on pay-per-view, or you happen to have been there.
Yeah.
You're looking at that dude like, what's this fucking scrub about to do?
What's he gonna do?
This guy in a little karate gi, because they still allowed gi, you know, there's no rules.
Yeah, no rules.
Some guy in a fucking boxing glove.
Like, what's going on here?
Like, so I mean, he was just out there in his karate gi, just locking ankle locks, elbow locks, choking. Like, he just put everybody. It was pretty crazy.
Yeah.
So I think I'd take him as my GOAT, and maybe he wouldn't translate as well now because of the. But I think if Royce Gracie comes up now, he wouldn't be such a just grappling submission expert. He would have more striking.
Well-rounded.
Because that was always like he didn't have much striking, but that's not jiu-jitsu. He was just locking people up.
Yeah. Well, I mean, also you have to consider Khabib.
That's what I'm saying.
In his GOAT tierness, which don't get me wrong.
He never lost.
Khabib had. Don't get me wrong. He had good ground and pound, but
that's Mayweather status.
Khabib won most of all of his fights pretty much from submissions. So maybe Gracie could,
maybe Khabib is a modern Gracie in some weird way, in a translation of it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So,
but I'll say. So who's? I think I already know the answer. It's probably Conor. I was gonna say, who's your favorite? It's probably Conor McGregor, right? All time.
It's gotta be Conor McGregor, or honestly, Adesanya.
Okay.
Those are my two.
That's different.
At least more modern favorites of all time, for sure.
So my actual probably favorite UFC fighter of all time is Forrest Griffin. I remember watching him on The Ultimate Fighter.
We can't forget, honorable shout out, Max Holloway. Maxie Boy, probably honestly one of the funnest fighters to watch fight.
Yo, so real quick, now that we're on the UFC and we were earlier talking about conspiracies, this one's huge, guys. Hear me on this. Matt Hughes. Matt Hughes, you know him, right?
I think so.
Do you know the story with what happened to Matt Hughes?
I don't think so, no.
Okay.
Tell.
I could pull it up. Maybe we will later. There's nothing to really. Matt Hughes, all-time UFC GOAT. Mm-hmm. He coached on The Ultimate Fighter. He's a game player, a mental manipulator of legends. Matt Hughes, an American wrestling icon, just real deal, raw.
Yeah.
Fuck you up. Okay, what happened to him? He lived out in the country, kind of similar to Brock Lesnar. I think he lived in Illinois country somewhere. Yeah. He was driving a truck, supposedly going somewhere or something. Train. Smoked his fucking truck. So now, he is very mentally, he talks very, I'm not going to make fun of the guy, I'm not going to try to reenact it, but he talks what you can imagine.
Yeah.
Very not that.
Traumatic experience.
Yes. But he still has, most of his motor functions. Mm-hmm. And for the most part, he's still there inside. It's just harder for him to translate it and get it out.
Understand.
But, so, here's where the conspiracy comes. Okay, guys. I'm telling you, this is an OG thought from me right here. I have not heard this from nothing.
All right, let's hear it.
How did you get hit by that train? So, okay, hang on. So the scenario, let me lay it out.
Mm-hmm.
They're in the country.
Gotcha. This train track
had no
crossing things.
Nothing like that. It's a country train just in the middle of bumfuck Egypt.
Yep.
Just one of those, and it smoked them. But there's nothing else around. I've seen there's pictures of the aftermath and yada yada. We can pull them, whatever. But the idea is there's nothing else around. It's plain flat country. There ain't fucking trees. You should be able to see this fucking train coming.
Pretty big.
Trains, basic rule of thumb, anytime they cross a road, they're blowing that horn, a mile out.
Should be, yeah.
Typically, maybe the guy didn't. I don't know. I wasn't there. Here's the conspiracy again. Matt Hughes, he had retired, and he had lost his way, and he was kind of going through a lot of shit at that point in his life.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to get into all the details because I want to keep it kind of short. I'm already dragging it out. I know I'm a very dramatic storyteller. Trust me, you wish you had these skills. But, so, he had a lot of shit happening, a lot of shit going wrong, and retired and he'd always been a fighter. He'd kind of lost his way after fighting a little bit. Not like, I'm not saying like drugs or alcohol or anything crazy, but just didn't.
Sure, if you
very depressing kind of thing.
Yeah, if you mold your whole life after something,
exactly,
and it comes to an end.
What do you do after?
Avoid, kind of.
So, I have the theory. I think Matt Hughes tried to commit suicide and he doesn't even remember it. I have the theory.
Maybe.
I have the theory because it just, when you add it all up, and you talked earlier about humans, we connect dots that sometimes aren't there, and I can admit maybe this dot isn't there.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, if we really sat here and delved into that, and maybe one day we will for another future episode, but just on the surface scratching in, it doesn't add up. It's almost like it doesn't really make a lot of sense on some weird level, I think.
Yeah.
And it's like, I think he sat his truck there knowing that train was coming and wanted to die, and then lived, and the trauma and the experience was so much that he maybe doesn't remember the moment of it, because it probably wasn't like a premeditated thing. Because a lot of times people that do things of that nature, I'm not going to say that word for YouTube algorithm's sake, but when people, self-inflict things like that.
That decision.
When they do that, obviously there's thoughts there prior and stuff, but a lot of times there isn't a lot of planning.
No, a lot of times it's just in the moment.
And I think maybe he was going to town, maybe he was doing something, maybe he was having an extra bad day, maybe an extra bad week, whatever. And I think maybe he just seen a train coming and was just maybe in that moment, fuck it, I don't know. And I'm not, Matt, if you're out there, I don't know. But here's another thing, just as one more caveat to it. Since he's been in, there's been a lot of shit because, supposedly he needs, in health care and stuff.
Yeah.
But he's still, he's still strong. He still works out. He's got motor skills enough to work out.
Yeah.
He's still, and he's still, and now it's becoming a thing where he uses his handicap to his advantage.
Yeah.
Because he's always been a mental manipulator, and he's still sharp inside.
Yeah.
So now and he's strong, and he's gotten into some legal trouble. Whereas I think he kind of whooped up on one of his nephews, not a little kid nephew, the nephew's an adult now.
Okay,
yeah. But he fucking Matt Hughes his fucking nephew
got him,
and then played the card, and it kind of became a weird and the family even had to tell the police, no, he's sharp, he's there, he knows what he's doing. He knows it's on the surface and it's hard for him to put it out, but he knows he's sharp inside.
Yeah, he still got it. And
it's a very but that's we were on the UFC and we were talking about goats, and Matt Hughes is always a goat.
Yeah, he's up there.
And that's always been one of my conspiracies with that. I think maybe he might have been attempting,
to move on.
Yeah. And so that's what I've got for that.
Yeah. Hey,
but I don't know. But moving on. Yeah. So, all right, guys. So moving on from that subject, the UFC goats, the conspiracies, football. We're here. This is the first episode.
Hopefully more to come.
A lot more to come. Like and comment, subscribe, guys. Let us know what you're interested in. Please, give us some topic points. We want to do some different things. We got some different ideas. Yep. I've got a few different segments, kind of, sort of. I want to try and work in. If you guys ever want to write in with a situation or anything like that, or a comment, or just give us some talking points. Give us some grounds to go on. Give us areas you think maybe we need to grow. I'm all for constructive criticisms.
Definitely.
So, I appreciate you stopping by. I appreciate you giving us the view. Again, a like, a comment,
anything
a subscribe's free for you, man, and it can mean a lot for us. It can, it stimulates the algorithm. If you want to see us again, come back. At this point, I feel like we've crushed this first episode.
Yeah, I feel like we've done good.
You crushed it. We crushed it.
Hey.
Fucking just out here doing big things.
Let's get some more.
Yes, absolutely. So, one more time, we appreciate you stopping by. I'm Logan.
I'm Q.
And we are the Sideline Society.